Greetings, wrestling fans of the world. Welcome to the Flying Guy.Bombcast, which each and every week brings you the best in analysis of New Japan professional wrestling, and at least the best on this side of the Pacific. Coming to you from the sunny shores of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I am your host, Zachary Randall. And with me, my co-host, coming to you from Dudleyville, Pennsylvania, the lost Dudley brother, Mad Matt Dudley. Matty, how you doing?
Pretty good. I was hoping you were going to call me the quintessential stud muffin this week, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what, dude? I was working on a few classic ECW related intros for you, and I should have gone with Gertner.
I can't remember his rap though, so if you ever put me on the spot with that, I'd fail.
Okay.
Up.
Well, we'll work on that for a future show.
Sounds good.
So, how you doing this Sunday? I saw that your team wasn't victimized again this week. The Thor lookalike that plays linebacker for you guys came out of the game flag free.
Yes, indeed, he did, and there was plenty of pressure on the quarterback, not a single call, so that made me happy. Packers shut out the Bills. That also made me happy. Fantasy's looking up as well, so yeah. What can I say?
You guys have a lot of Bills fans there in that part of the country. You got to get further. You got to get further east for that.
No, there are. I was wearing my Packers hoodie on Friday when I was leaving Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store. I don't know where geographically how far that chain stretches, but as I was leaving the grocery store, I passed a Bills fan in a Bills t-shirt while wearing my Packers hoodie.
Got it. Well, my team lost in overtime, so.
What can you do?
Well, lose in overtime, apparently. That's what we can do.
Yeah.
How's the weekend been? How's the little one doing? How's the lady doing?
Everybody's doing well. We had a little campfire Friday night. Just, hung out, and the baby was the life of the party. She's sitting there by the fire just going, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's just, staring and giggling and, in awe. So it was a great time.
She had shit to say. What are you going to do?
Right. And everybody's going to listen. So she knows how to get attention.
Well, I spent yesterday with my lady. We went to a comedy club up in West Palm Beach. Was a pretty good time. I always like going to the Improv. Anybody
famous there doing the set?
Let me. Yeah, I had to look her in because I'm bad with it. It's Jessie May Peluso. I don't know if you know her. This was actually the first time I had seen her. I'd like to try to be all cool and knowledgeable and be like, of course I know about her. I know all about stand-up comedy. I don't. At least I don't anymore. No, so she used to be on Girl Code on MTV, and then she hosts a couple different podcasts. Fucking hilarious. And what was crazy about her set is that she had a routine that she started with, and then she spent most of her set just riffing on people in the crowd. And it wasn't she was picking on, it was people that were asking for it, and then she just there was a couple of bros sitting near the stage, and they were pretending to be a gay couple, and they clearly weren't. They were clearly two very bro-ish heterosexual men, and they kind of kept up the act all night, and so she kind of kept pressing them on it because she knew. And then there was a couple sitting straight in front of her that kind of caught her attention when one of them shouted out in the middle of the set, and then you don't shout at the stage at a stand-up show, because that's a good way to get yourself a new asshole torn. So she really deviated from material and just riffed on people for half the set.
Sounds like fun. Erie has a comedy club too, and usually it's second or third rate kind of people. But Brian Posehn is coming.
Oh, nice.
Within the next couple months, so hoping to snag a couple tickets to that.
I'll have to see if he's coming through to the Improv then. I saw David Spade is coming here in December, and I'm probably going to have to get out for that one. When I've sort of realized how accessible we got more than one Improv here, but the one I always end up going to is West Palm. I realized sort of how accessible it is and what it like chill environment it is, and it's not a terribly expensive evening. They do have a 2-drink minimum, but if you just basically do like your ticket and your 2 drinks, you can get out of the evening, not spending a ton of money. And yeah, even though they'll have some like local acts on that are really good too. So I saw Chris Kattan there a few months ago, and he was actually like embarrassingly bad, but there were 2 local comics that opened the setup who were phenomenal.
I'm glad that Chris Kattan is still active. That makes me happy.
Oh my dude, was
it Corky Romano bad?
Yeah, it was. So first of all, he's not a stand-up comic, right? Because a lot of the SNL people are, right? Because like Spade can do stand-up comedy, or so I think some other guys like from, Dennis Miller was a stand-up comic. I don't really like Dennis Miller anymore. But who else? Kevin Nealon was a stand-up comic. Guys like that. Norm Macdonald was. It's not Kattan's thing. So a lot of it was just him telling SNL stories and then doing like a couple of his like characters. But he also looked like he's not that old. He's like not that much older than me. He's like 5 or 6 years older than me, right?
Okay.
And I'd like to think I'm not old. But he's obviously had some work done. It looks like to me he's done way too much cocaine. But he actually looks like mini Willem Dafoe now.
Weird.
Yeah, it is. It was kind of fucking creepy. It was one of those as we walked out of the like the room where the performances were headed out to the lobby, like everybody I heard out in the lobby was just like pissed and just like going on about how much he sucked.
Did he do Mango?
Of course he did Mango.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mango goes over really well in 2018.
Yeah. God even did Mr. Peepers too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so in case you missed my text messages from Friday night, there was some kind of good wrestling going on.
Yeah, I did not miss them. I was just, doing family stuff.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, and mind you, this is me a couple drinks into the evening. I'm texting Matt, watching the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And it's basically like every 30 seconds, like, oh my God, bro, this show is so good. He just did the thing, But it was a really good show.
Yeah, I was going to get around to it, but, just other stuff happened too.
Well,
at least that match I wanted to catch, the Chaos versus Bullet Club one. But
well, yeah, I was going to say, just hop on my Honor Club account and you can watch it.
Yeah, I'll probably check it out sometime this week.
Yeah, so I actually want to run through the card real quick because I kind of dug this. I'm just going to go over the results because I don't want to dig into every match. Kenny King beat Jushin Liger. He got some really big heat for it. Also, let me throw out, so this show is in Vegas and they booked a really big building for it. And they didn't come anywhere close to selling it out, and then the crowd was kind of dead all night. I didn't necessarily pay that much attention to that part of it because I was just kind of into it, but apparently I heard some people saying that the lack of crowd reaction was taking them out of it.
That sounds pretty awkward, especially coming out of All In being such a resounding success.
Yeah. The point I heard Meltzer make about it, and he's probably right, is that Ring of Honor can't always sell shows on the strength of the brand and the wrestler names, that they actually have to sell matches. And that's fair. And it's actually becoming true for New Japan as well, which, as we know, is doing a show in Long Beach tonight. And this is, me, I've traveled all over the place to see New Japan, and I'm like, for that show.
Yeah, we'll probably get into it later, but just looking at the card, it seems awkward too. It's just a lot more American talent. I don't know if they have trouble getting people, across to the U.S. or what the deal is with that, or if it's trying to kowtow to an American audience by putting more, American guys on the card. I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
So, I know getting visas is difficult now, but they can plan in advance, so that's one thing. But I think that they're slow to learn this market, and I think it's actually taken them a while. And I think it was maybe, as I heard Mike Tenay said, talking about the G1 special in San Francisco, that yeah, it's a good card, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted a New Japan show, and he's right. It's not a New Japan show. You got a show with New Japan talent in weird matches, wrestling American, like the very first one where they had Tanahashi and Billy Gunn. Okay. They've gotten much better since then. But even, okay, so obviously I'm a huge Cody. I fucking love Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is amazing. But I've seen 2 IWGP heavyweight title matches in person, and both of them Cody Rhodes was the challenger. Still cool that I got to see those matches, but imagine what the U.S. crowd wants, I think, because this is what I want, and I suspect you do too. I would have rather seen that Omega Ishii match on this card rather than the tag match that they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, it's what a New Japan card should be. It's what fans are, I'm sure, expect. So to give us something different just for the sake of being here geographically, I don't get it.
So I think they're still learning. We'll see what happens, but I mean, and they need to go somewhere else other than California, obviously. Even if they go up to Seattle.
Yeah, agreed.
They could do Chicago is a good location. You can obviously, first of all, people obviously fly to Chicago. They can pack a fucking arena in Chicago. I mean, dude, there's a reason it's one of WWE's best cities. I mean, they did, I saw NXT there earlier this year. That was the weekend of King of the Ring, and they'll always sell out the building there. So,
yeah, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh are also all great choices.
Let me think.
Just because they're within a drive's distance for me. It's purely selfish reasons.
I was gonna say, actually, Ring of Honor does Buffalo all the time.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Ring of Honor show sometime.
Yeah, I would be down for that for sure.
Oh yeah, so I had a point to make. I was talking about the crowd being a little dead. So as I continue on my famous Zachary Randall tangents here, I was listening to the latest Talk is Jericho earlier today, and Y2J was talking to Brian Pillman Jr. And of course, he's talking about his dad a ton, and that got me. I went and put on the Liger Pillman match from '92. That was a Super Brawl 2, I think, Super Brawl 2 or 3. I just watched it, so I should know, but it was a Super Brawl. And so what's interesting about that, okay, a few things about that show. It was in Milwaukee, which just seems, I mean, I realize that WCW did a ton of shows all over the North. That still just seems odd for them to be doing a show in, and that's not, and we're not talking about like this is like the monthly pay-per-view era. We're still talking like 5-6 pay-per-views a year at this point, and to have one in Milwaukee seems odd. Interesting thing that they did on that show, though, that being the old AWA stomping grounds there, that was Jesse Ventura's debut with WCW. And he does his little cheap heat, and he does his cheap pop and says something about being in Crusher country.
It's a little bit of pandering.
But that made
sure.
sense. But that made sense for them to bring. They have a show in Milwaukee for them to bring Jesse out.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But for him to say that is, that's a little over the top.
So a funny moment is their setup is basically Bischoff and Shivani are acting as hosts of the show. And then JR and Jesse are the commentators. And JR's in the ring and actually introduces Jesse and kind of lets Jesse cut a promo in the ring. and this is amazing. Jesse looks over at JR and says, he's like, you know what? I'm looking over at you, and I can see you in a cowboy hat, and you'd look just like J.R. Ewing, which is amazing because your initials are J.R. And for you guys who don't know, there was an old TV show called Dallas where the main villain was J.R. Ewing. And I thought that was amazing that, like, what is it, six, right? Let's call it 4 or 5, 6 years before JR was JR. Fucking Jesse predicted it.
Yeah, there you have it. Yeah, what else was on that card? Anything good?
You had Steiners against Arn Anderson and Zbyszko. Can't really go wrong with that. No, it wasn't Zbyszko. It was Bobby Eaton, which is even better than Larry Zbyszko. Stunning Steve and Larry Zbyszko took on... Where the fuck can I remember who they took on? That was another Dangerous Alliance match. You had Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude going for the U.S. title. Those two always fucking tore it down. And then the main event was Lex Luger and Sting for the big gold belt, and this was Luger's last appearance in WCW before the first Nitro.
No shit. Say that, and it sounds like a good card for. Yeah, obviously, like Flair was out during that time in WWF, and seemed like they really, put a nice card together. Had a lot of good talent on the roster. No shit.
Ron Simmons and Mick Foley.
That sounds like an odd pairing, but yeah.
It especially it is because so JR, especially JR from that era, and he still does it now, but JR from that era is talking about. I mean, dude, Ron Simmons is a legitimate legendary college football player, right? And
wasn't he won the Heisman, didn't he?
No, but he would finish like the top 10 in the Heisman voting, which for a defensive lineman doesn't happen, right? If you're going to win the Heisman, most of the time you're going to be a quarterback.
Right.
Maybe a running back, rarely a receiver, and even more rarely a defensive back. Because, like, who was it? Charles Woodson won the Charles Woodson won the Heisman the year that Peyton should have won it. But what are you going to do? Not that that's been bugging me for the past 20 years or whatever.
Right.
And apparently the dark match was Big Josh and DDP.
I'm assuming DDP went over.
No. This was years before DDP was anybody.
Aw, poor fella.
And it was Big Josh. That's Matt Osborne. You probably don't really know who Matt Osborne was, though.
He was the original Doink. I know that much.
Yeah, he was a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had... yeah. Because I was kind of just perusing it and then fell asleep at one point because I like to fall asleep watching and listening to things I like. Marcus Alexander Bagwell beat Terry Taylor. Obviously, the opener was that classic Pillman Jushin Liger match that was absolutely just mind-boggling for the time. Pillman beat Liger for the light heavyweight championship. Cactus got beat by Ron Simmons, and then Abby came out after the match, and him and Cactus jumped Ron Simmons, and Junkyard Dog was at ringside and jumped the railing to save his buddy.
That sounds like quite an angle.
It does, and this is what's funny is that this is like JYD so far past his peak, and Shivani in finest wrestling form is like I've never seen JYD looking so good, and it's like, all right, homie. How about this is a great one. So Van Hammer and Z-Man being the recently deceased Tom Zink, defeated Richard Morton, i.e. Ricky Morton, and Vinny Vegas.
Wow. That is different.
Do I need to tell everybody who Vinny Vegas is?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's Kevin Nash.
Yeah, prior to, even the Diesel era. So, did he get to pull out the snake eyes in the match? Probably not if they lost.
That's one of the ones I slept through. So,
yeah,
I'm just running down the card at this point. Anyway, though, Barry went. Oh yeah, so it was Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes taking on. I keep wanting to call him Stone Cold, Stunning Steve and Zbyszko.
That sounds like a great match.
Double A and Bobby Eaton taking on. They beat the Steiners by DQ. I actually saw. When I was watching the match. I saw Rick do his top rope bulldog, and I'm thinking, goddamn, knowing how stiff that guy was. That just must have been a brutal fucking move to take.
Yeah, I always thought that move looked dangerous as hell.
So it was during that match is when I shut it off and came in here to set up, and then so Rude beat Steamboat, and then Sting beat Luger. So the reason I brought this card up though is because the crowd was so fucking hot for everything. And that's the thing that, like, one of the things that's a little off in wrestling today, and I've talked about this before, the crowds always seem dead to me. Because you go back and you watch anything like, let's say, I honestly even see something from like 10 years ago and the crowds were hotter, but you watch anything like Attitude Era and before, the crowds are just constantly, like, there's always like a buzz, right? There's always, and they react to everything.
Yeah, totally. And especially that's funny, just being in a different area that they're not, that promotion typically wasn't in at the time, and for them to still have, such a hot crowd.
Yeah, the crowd was crazy hot, and it was just sort of like, it always really stands out. You go back and you watch mid-'80s Hogan era WWF, and you can watch some of the house shows on the network, and just hearing how hot those old crowds were. And it's like, it's most of the time is objectively shitty wrestling, even though that's the wrestling that got me into wrestling. It's objectively shitty wrestling. And those crowds are crazy for it.
Yeah, it's just the characters are so over. Especially with Hogan, of course, leading the charge, but that's kind of that thing of, if you got an act that's over on top, then people will, enjoy the stuff on the undercard, even if it's, pretty subpar or mediocre.
Yeah, Hulk definitely lifted up. And that's actually one of the things about the Ring of Honor show last night. I'm going to, shift back into that now. The top two matches on that card were phenomenal. And I walked out of it feeling like pretty good about it. I was listening to Meltzer and Alvarez talk about it, and they're the top two matches were good, but the rest of it was a little dead. And I'm just sort of like, you know what? I didn't even notice, but I got to see fucking Bullet Club and Chaos in a crazy match, and I got to see Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, that all sounds like great wrestling, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yep. So so as I said, Luger got beat by Kenny King. Got some crazy heat for it because, well, you beat Liger, especially you beat Liger in front of an American crowd. I don't know, man. I might fucking riot for that.
Yeah.
I'm a jump the fucking railing, man. The Briscoe brothers took on SoCal Uncensored. Briscoes went over here. I guess there's an angle going on where I think that Kazarian and Daniels have until Final Battle to become the tag team champions, and if not, Joe Koff is going to fire them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll end up seeing them beat the Briscoes at some point, and those are four guys that I'll watch wrestle together forever.
Yeah, I'm sure that all their matches are pretty fantastic.
And apparently, as Chris Daniels was on Observer Live this past week, he said that the Briscoes and SoCal Uncensored have only wrestled like 3 or 4 times in Ring of Honor.
No shit.
Yeah. Shocked me too.
Yeah.
Because you just assume that those guys would be facing off all the time. Sumi Sakai beat Tennille Dashwood. So Tennille, the former Emma, actually had a shoulder injury, and she's actually going to have to go have surgery on it. There were some good spots in the match. They were actually like a little stiff with each other at times, and there was even like So there's like a power bomb on the floor off of the apron.
Oh wow.
But the ending was lame, and the crowd didn't like it. Basically, Sumi Sakai had Dashwood in an armbar, and Tennille passed out, and the ref stopped the match, and nobody passes out from an armbar because your arm gets broken first.
Right. Yeah, there's really very little logic to that one. That's a head scratcher.
Well, the thing is in the 80s, you could do the passing out from the figure four, the whatever move,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody'd seen real fighting, right? But we've all seen MMA now. So we're all at least vaguely aware what happens when somebody gets put into a joint lock.
Yeah, you really can't put anything over on people that way anymore, especially, like when you have people in an armbar for more than like 3 seconds without tapping. There's just so much that we know now that we didn't back in the day that, as far as suspension of disbelief is concerned, yeah, it makes things a little bit tougher, a little bit trickier.
Yeah, and having done that stuff a little bit, I can tell you the minute that one of those, even just sort of like doing like the demonstration in class, maybe not even like sparring, when one of those joint locks gets locked in properly before anybody starts like putting pressure on it, as soon as it's locked in, it hurts because you can feel something bending the wrong way. So, dude, no. Like, no. People will hold on in chokeholds and try to get out. But no, so anyway, I'm not going to harp on the ending. It's just, I don't know, Ring of Honor should know better. Punishment Martinez versus Chris Sabin for the TV title. So funny story, my dude Frank, the singer in my band, was over, and we were watching this. He's not really, I've kind of been like slowly introducing him to wrestling, and I was going on about how awesome I think Punishment Martinez is. He's a good wrestler. He's a fucking giant, and he can work. He's got a good look, and then on top of that, he's Hispanic in WWE. Just, I mean, they've got Ray back, but they just for this, as much as they push the product in Mexico and South America, they just don't have any Hispanic stars. Yeah, Punishment Martinez is last night, and Ring of Honor was the next night, Saturday. He's on his way to WWE.
And he'll probably do well in NXT. He'll probably fit a, similar to Baron Corbin type of role.
Except he's good. Except he's good.
He's a better worker. See, I've barely. I remember him doing a couple matches on a New Japan tour, but they seem kind of unremarkable.
I mean, he's not gonna seem that amazing on New Japan show. No, he's if they've got half a brain in their head, he should be a fucking very, very big deal there.
Good to know. Yeah, I mean, he's probably pretty young, probably mid-20s, I'd imagine.
Actually, I think he's kind of old. But let me confirm.
Really?
Yeah, let me confirm that. I could be completely wrong about that. I'm getting old myself, so my brain isn't so sharp. Also, I just woke up from a nap too. So what do you want? No, homie's 36.
Oh dang!
Which makes
I was off by about a decade.
Which actually makes it like a little shocking that they signed him. Because they don't sign older guys. So I don't know if they're just gonna. Yeah, I'm interested what they're gonna do with him, because they make everybody hang out in NXT for at least a year, so where the hard camera is. But yeah, okay, I'm really curious now. I mean, I kind of was aware last night when I was thinking about it that he was 36, but that makes it interesting. So anyway, though, I think he should be big there. They should get him up on the main roster pretty quickly. If you need him to do 6 months in Orlando, do 6 months in Orlando, and then fuck, dude. I mean, if you're gonna insist on keeping Roman Reigns a babyface, at least have this guy come out and fucking heel for him.
Yeah, and it should be, like an intense heel thing. Like he could really be a monster.
He
You know.
has the look, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Punishment goes over here. After the match, he's going to curb stomp Saban onto a chair, and who comes out but Jeff Cobb? And
Nice.
so Punishment hits Cobb with a chair, and Cobb just like fucking no sells it, Ishii style.
That's fantastic.
So Cobb lays him out and holds up the TV title and drops it on Martinez. And well, there's TV tapings last night, so you can guess that Martinez is no longer champion. So do with that information what you will.
Absolutely.
So we had Silas and Bully Ray taking on Colt Cabana and Flip Gordon in a tables elimination match. So Bully, who is like the perfect heel, is basically he's like using his whole like WWE pedigree to like get on the crowd, and he did this promo where he held up his Hall of Fame ring. So they basically, as a part of the gimmick, they did a shitty WWE finish in this match.
That's fun.
Yeah. As you can imagine, the crowd didn't like it. Basically, what it was is that so Cabana had got eliminated, Bully got eliminated, and then Flip put Young through a table with his 450 splash, but the ref was down, so he didn't see it. Bully was still in the ring and woke up, pulled Silas off the broken table and put Flip on it. Ref gets up, sees the mess, calls for the bell. Bully and Silas win. So again, total like shit finish.
Yeah, that's cheesy as hell.
Uh-huh.
That is some cornball shit.
Yeah. So, all right. So the next match, total craziness. Bucks and Cody, Skrull and Hangman taking on Okada, Ishii, Chucky T, Beretta, and Rocky Romero.
Damn.
Yeah. So what to say about this match? First of all, I am still infinitely delighted by Chucky T and Beretta coming out holding hands.
Yeah, they're starting to grow on me. Chucky T in particular, he's a pretty funny dude.
Yeah.
Just like watching his backstage promos and stuff. He's pretty intriguing fella.
I enjoyed him on when he was doing commentary. He's grown on me too. I didn't like him before. Yeah, but I totally like him. There's like a little scene where Rocky's trying to like celebrate with him because Rocky's always doing his gimmick where he's like he's one of the best. He's a best friend too, you know. And like Trent's finally kind of like you know waving him away or whatever. They finally celebrated outside the ring together. Dude, Rocky was the most impressive guy in this match.
No kidding. I would
Yeah.
not expect that at all.
Rocky was great. Beretta was great too. I mean, it's not like there was anybody not great in the match. So really cool. This made me happy and reminded me why I love pro wrestling. Nick Aldis comes out and does commentary for this match. Nick Aldis is fucking awesome, let me say. He's doing the old school heel thing. And he's getting the whole match over, but he's also like burying Cody. And actually everything he's saying about Cody is right in reference to their match at All In. But he's such a fucking prick that that like you still hate him anyway, even though he's right, which is I feel like is the best kind of heel. Like he was like fucking I don't know. He was I think I heard somebody compare him to like he was like Tully Blanchard Friday night, which is I mean will always win me over.
That is pretty high praise, and I totally agree with you as far as heel is totally justified in what they're saying, but they're just it's so totally arrogant that you can't even stand it.
I'm not for sure.
It's a better it's a more intense level of heat.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than an asshole telling you the truth.
Exactly.
I don't understand why Aldis isn't a bigger deal. Obviously, he was a top guy in TNA, but his look is phenomenal, and he's a great talker, and he's a good enough wrestler.
Yeah, he can get over that way. You know, just with what he's got right now, that package is it's pretty refined to to a pretty good point.
So he kept teasing that he had an announcement during the match, and he kept bringing it up, and he's like, "But I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm not going to tell you yet." So he finally revealed that that at the upcoming NWA anniversary show in Nashville, his rematch against Cody is going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match.
That's pretty cool. A little bit of an old school feel to the match. That's pretty neat, especially at an anniversary show. It's apropos.
Yeah, especially NWA anniversary show. Anyway, I can't really run down this match, but it was fucking awesome. Like I said, Rocky was awesome, especially like him doing his his forever clotheslines. There was the entrance way was like a platform with like a ramp coming down, and everybody was like brawling up the the entrance lane, and Chuck E. T did a flip dive off the entrance ramp, which was crazy. Everybody was doing like flip dives outside the ring, and Ishii was the only guy that hadn't. He was inside the ring, so the Chaos guys call for him. Ishii gets up on the corner and basically goes to do a flip dive, and it's awesome because he does it. And that's when I texted you that Ishii did the thing. But dude, he barely got turned over, and he didn't even jump. Like, he didn't like dive. He fell off. He just kind of leaned forward and fell off, and he still barely got himself turned over. It was amazing. It was fucking amazing.
Well, he used to be like a junior heavyweight, so it's kind of funny that, I mean, obviously at his age, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pull something like that off. But
yeah, because he was Black Cat, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty sure.
So I think it was JR said recently that if you're a pro wrestling fan and you don't like Ishii, maybe it's time to give it up.
Yeah, that's pretty well said.
I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. And you're going to be like, Zach, you weren't actually thinking about this a lot. No, I've actually thought about this a lot. Tomohiro Ishii needs to get a run with one of the big titles.
He'd be a great IC champ.
Yeah, I think... oh, dude, holy shit, him and Jericho.
Yeah, that would be a great feud.
I mean, Naito needs to beat Jericho in the return match. But it would be, yeah, I don't know. And I think Jericho just wants to work with all of those guys, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
And we still have to see Jericho and Okada at some point, which, like, holy fucking shit, dude. Imagine the match that those two would put together.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, Jericho would let Okada lead it too, and just, take him to great places. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. So the Bullet Club guys went over here. Marty won with the crossface chicken wing, which is just such a crazy over move. It's bad. I actually want to like convince people to let me practice that move on them, but no luck. Anyway, though, Okada actually refused to face Skrull because they both ended up in the ring at the same time, and Okada just turned around and tagged out.
Ouch.
Yep. So this was
quite a sign of disrespect there. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a fun match. I can't attempt to like give it a rundown. This totally go just see this show. It's worth it. And the main event, dude, Jay Lethal versus Will Ospreay for the ROH title.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
So, dude, Ospreay has put weight on.
Really?
Not in a like me, like I drank 5 beers last night and like I can't see my dick now kind of way. It's like no, he's like bulked up.
Yeah. Well, he, uh, not necessarily called out, but he, said, Hiromu, I'll be waiting for you when you get back. It was almost like a nice little shout out as far as, get well soon, so we can fight again.
But I was gonna say Osprey worked like Osprey is working like a pro wrestler now and not a stuntman. Like
Word.
he worked a pro wrestling match here and he still did his high spots and whatever. But excuse me. Great match. Hard hitting. Lethal actually kicked out of the Os cutter. Osprey went for a super Frankensteiner. Lethal turned it into a power bomb on the way down and hit the lethal injection for the pin. Amazing match. Osprey kind of had like a heel moment where he ended up with the ROH title in his hand, and he's going to deck Lethal with it. Lethal's telling him to do it because it's the only way you can beat me, and he decides to not do it. So my only thing with this is that Osprey is having a match today against Skrull for the junior heavyweight tournament, so I don't really like him losing here unless he's losing today. But I guess there's no shame in losing to the ROH World Champion, but,
Yeah. I mean, especially when you are marketing yourself as a junior still in New Japan.
Yeah, he's obviously getting ready to move up to heavyweight, though. I mean, I'm starting to feel like, and I'm starting to really feel like Osprey's the best wrestler in the world. I know I've been saying Okada for a while on this show, but I'm starting to shift my opinion to that being Will Ospreay.
Damn. That's high praise.
And I don't know. Let's review this and let's review that opinion in 6 months. But yeah, dude, I think him just bulking up and slowing down a hair, but still being like light and flexible enough that he can explode. I mean, I don't know, man. Think about like a bigger Shawn Michael with upgrades or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
I don't even know if that's quite the right comparison, but I think you know what I'm getting at with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to compare. It's hard to compare guys from eras like that.
Yeah, totally different generation.
Because if like HBK was wrestling today, he would be doing some like hell. He did crazy shit anyway. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, that bump that he took into the fucking casket that ended his career for a long time.
That's brutal.
Taking a bump off the cage anyway. HBK is coming out of retirement, but I guess you knew that.
Yeah. I don't, really care for the circumstances.
Neither do I.
So.
Can't blame the guy for the payday, taking the payday though.
Right. Yeah, you can't put that on him at all.
So after the match, TK O'Ryan and Vinny Marseglia come out and attack Lethal. Jonathan Gresham tries to make the save without success, and then Matt Taven returns to ROH, beats up Lethal, and pulls out like a purple replica ROH title belt, calls himself the real world champion. So Taven had been off in CMLL, and actually at their anniversary show a couple weeks ago, he was teamed up with Volador Jr. and actually they lost a mask versus hair match, or is it just a hair versus hair match in the main event? So he's like got like a creepy mohawk now.
That's weird. I haven't seen him recently, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean this just happened that he just got his head shaved.
Okay.
Like I said, it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Don't you remember me? I was talking to, I think last week I was talking about the CMLL show, and that's what it was from.
I was on that. Okay.
Right, so that was the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Yeah, you should go watch it. I think actually it's worth the $10 to go get Honor Club just to see that.
Okay, I'll consider it.
Well, you got my login.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if I can, afford to, support them financially, I will. Well, I don't know. Until I remember that it's.
It's fucking Sinclair.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, dude. I was sitting there, I was trying to. So the Honor Club site kind of sucks because I'm just trying to figure out because there's the premium thing that you can get for a year that includes all the pay-per-views. I have the normal monthly one where you still have to buy the pay-per-views, but you get them 50% off. And it's hard to find out where to fucking buy them, and then once you buy them to try to figure out where to watch them, it's kind of terrible. But I'm poking around the site trying to figure it out, and Frank sees that it's Sinclair, and he's basically like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I'm like, "Dude, I know."
That's a tough one to try to explain away, right?
I'm like, "Listen, they just happen to own the second biggest wrestling promotion in the U.S., and it's really fucking good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry."
That's about all you can do in that situation, yeah.
It is. It very much is. So normally at this point in the show, I'd be like, Maddie, you want to talk about some wrestling? Because normally I've been maybe rambling about the how awesome the Wizard class is in this season of Diablo 3, which maybe I'll do later in the show. But we've actually been talking about wrestling for the last 40 minutes. So Maddie, do you want to talk about some Japanese wrestling?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be we're lagging a little bit on New Japan, but this is kind of what fits our schedule, and it gives you time to watch everything. So we're going to be talking about last week's Destruction in Kobe show. Next week we're going to be talking about Fighting Spirit Unleashed. So Maddie, take us to Kobe.
Yes, the Kobe World Hall, to be specific. Show took place a week ago on the 23rd. And show starts out with a nice little 10-minute draw between two young lions, Yota Tsuji and Yuya Uemura. These two have been going at it all tour and kind of came to a head here with a pretty nice little 10-minute opener.
So didn't they say that they've wrestled something like 12, 13 times and
all draws?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it was like a dozen times or more, right? Something crazy like that.
Yeah, like 14 or 15. Yeah. I want to say, and including this one. Yeah, Tsuji dominated the majority of the match. Looked really good doing it. Both guys hit some pretty nice looking drop kicks in the late going. Uemura got some pretty nice elevation on his, and Tsuji was more like a straight ahead torpedo drop kick, but they both looked really good in their different way. And Tsuji had the Boston Crab locked in as the time limit expired and the bell rang. And I think Uemura might have tapped right after that. So, pretty dominant showing from Tsuji despite the time limit draw.
I love how New Japan teaches these guys to wrestle because they do the basic stuff like, say, the drop kicks really, really well.
Yeah, and the little, mat wrestling, scrambling moments, and all the strikes are really nice and snug, and everything's really fundamental and executed well before they go in and do their excursions and come back. So
a couple things nice. that this reminds me of. So Lance Storm is doing a show on The Observer again. Him and Brian Alvarez do a show on Friday. So firstly, let me just say I fucking love Lance Storm. I learned so much about wrestling, honestly, the sort of the art and construction of a match from listening to him. And what's interesting, he runs a school up in Calgary, right?
Right.
So he's like the trainer right now, and that's even people at NXT will recommend him, not like wrestlers, people working at NXT will recommend Lance. And that kind of what I've got picked up from what he says. He's really focused on the basics of match construction and only having 2 or 3 moves that you do, and if you're going to do a move, do it right. which reminds me that's actually where Brian Pillman Jr. Trained. I really suggest going to listen to a show that he did with Jericho.
It's on my it's on my podcast queue or whatever. So it's queued up, ready to go at some point.
And they actually tell a couple stories about a couple fun stories about Harry Smith, who we'll be talking about in a few minutes.
Nice.
And just on a side note, I am really rooting for Pillman Jr. to make it. Seems like a good kid. He's really smart. He's actually got a degree in system informations, and he was like a fucking database guy before he went into wrestling. So he's a technology dude, so that makes me doubly like him. But he's so into wrestling. One of the reasons he's so into it is because he was kind of kept away from it as a kid, because he was like 4 years old when his dad died. He's so into it and he wants to be good. And then he's like the wrestlers that he's into are wrestlers that I'm into, like, you know, Kenny Omega and those guys. So I think he's going to be just like he's going to be an insanely good wrestler. I think let's call it like 3 years, he'll be in NXT. And yeah, I mean, he could totally just go in there and just be like, he gets the polish on him. He could just go in there and be the top guy in NXT for a year.
Right on. Good for him. That's good that he's, following the business and, knows like where the top guys are. If he can recognize that, then he has a template to follow.
And Jericho said it best, that it's like, he's like, everybody, there's a lot of goodwill for you because everybody loved your dad. And that doesn't necessarily make, like, you shouldn't take it, like, you shouldn't exploit that. But the fact is that everybody has such goodwill towards your father, that's going to extend to you.
That's good. Good for him. I hope that he, succeeds, of course.
Yeah. He's injured right now. So he basically said he's going to sit and watch all these old Benoit and Malenko matches, and he's just going to learn. He basically sat there and told Jericho he was going to learn 1,000 holds. So Jericho's like, so you're going to be the new man who have 1,004 holds?
Nice.
And then Chris says, yeah, Y2J says something like, yeah, I've forgotten 700 of those, so.
Yeah, that reminds me of an old Jay-Z line. I didn't forget more than you ever learned.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we got another Young Lions match here up next. Shota Umino and Rin Narita versus Roppongi 3K. By the way, you're right. Shota Umino is starting to like fill out.
Yeah, and growing the hair out too. Kind of distinguishing himself a little bit. So that's always a good sign. Yeah, that you're developing and working your way up to make your comeback.
It was so funny seeing some of the more recent Young Lions, like seeing Jay White when he was a young lion, or seeing Evil when he was a young lion, because they're so fucking bland and cookie cutter. And then once they get their shot, like, they diverge so quickly in terms of like appearance and gimmick and everything.
Right, and and then we got Oka and who's the other one that's out right now who'll be back? What's his name? Kawato. They're both out now. I don't know where exactly they are, but it'd be fun to see once they come back what they're gonna do with them.
And I still haven't heard anything on Kitamura, which is disappointing because I was big into him. I wanted to see like a big monster muscle guy, Brock Lesnar style in New Japan, but man, those fucking single concussion can end it for you.
That's crazy, but it's good that that they're protecting these guys these days. That's what's most important is their safety.
I don't know, not a lot to say about this match. Roppongi 3K goes over here as you would expect in one of these matches.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. The thing that sticks out most to me was Umino and Narito both did Stereo Boston Crabs on RPG 3K, and then Yo came back with a really deep, nasty crab on Narita, and he was totally bent back the opposite way. Like it looked really, really rough. That's the thing that sticks out most to me.
Well, hopefully he's been doing his yoga so he can handle that.
Yeah, and Yo hits a Falcon Arrow for the victory in this one too. So always great when you see the Falcon Arrow end it.
So up next, Tiger Mask and Jushin Liger taking on El Desperado and Kanemaru. El Desperado and Kanemaru are the junior tag team champions. This, of course, is a non-title match, though.
Yeah, and the veterans pull it out.
I'm assuming that this sets up in the very near future a title match. It's probably
It did, but they Liger cut a promo on them afterwards, like, "Oh, you just got beat by a couple old men. How about you give the old men a shot at the title?" And he was real sassy about it. And
so I hope that they give those two one last run with the title, even if it's just like a month or whatever. But New Japan tends not to do like nostalgic title runs. You'll get like a nostalgia win in like one of the tournaments, but you won't get like a nostalgic. Although actually, that's not fair to Tana. I was gonna say Tana might get like a nostalgia title reign, but it's fucking Tanahashi. So
yeah, this is he's still in his prime. He's at the end of his prime, but he's still there. And we also have the Super Junior Tag League coming up in this coming month of October, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I wanna see what they do with the junior tag division, because I've mentioned I think last week that it feels a little deflated right now. So hopefully they can juice that up a little bit, because I don't know, I want good junior action from New Japan.
Yeah, I'm assuming they'll probably bring in some luchadors to kind of round it out, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they get maybe they'll get Bandito in there again. I'm sure you can get Volador, Teton, Dragon. I don't know how Dragon Lee's viewed there right now after murdering Hiromu.
That's true. It's going to be hard for him to show his face around there anytime soon, I think.
Well, assuming he actually spoke. I think if I don't know how I can speak to the locker room because they all speak different languages, but hopefully he actually extended an apology to Hiromu. Those two are supposed to be buddies, and apologized to the locker room as well. I think that helps. It's just, I don't know, man. That's the fucking Phoenix Plex is just a crazy move.
Yeah, too risky.
So let's see here. 8-man tag, Nagata, Nakanishi, Kojima, and Tenzan versus Yoshida, Taguchi, Hanma, and Makabe.
Yeah, again, nothing too crazy because it's mostly these older guys. With Yoshida being the one exception. So Taguchi's, doing the old base coach spot again. Lots of fun. And Nakanishi ends up hitting the Polish hammer on Taguchi's ass. Always fun.
That is amazing.
Like, I'm gonna, that's a good insult in a fight context. I'm gonna Polish hammer your ass, and he literally did it. So,
and that actually you should make a GIF out of that.
Yeah, it's a gifable moment for sure. Now, I don't know if it's as gifable as Yo plunging his hand in the hole, but we'll save that for later.
You know what? I don't mind silly in wrestling so long as at least they fucking get shit serious later in the card.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree.
I was gonna say the old guys go over here, but they're all old guys. Nagata's team goes over. I still love Yuji Nagata. I think he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that bridging back suplex that he used to pick up the victory here, it's always an awesome looking move.
You remember him? I always remember him. My first memory of him was as just the Japanese dude in WCW with Sonny Ono. And
yeah, didn't he have some kind of weird gimmickry that he'd wear to the ring?
Did he?
I feel like he did. I feel like he had some weird, I don't know if he had almost like a Spartan thing. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
And then I remember seeing, just a few short years later that he was the IWGP champion, and I was like, wow, that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's probably similar to the excursion situation that the Young Lions go through now, where it's just get some seasoning, go over there and test your metal a little bit before you come back.
So imagine seeing Okada as fucking Samoa Joe's comic book sidekick on TNA, and he's like the fucking best wrestler that ever lived.
Right. Yeah. Luckily for me, I missed that era, so I'm glad that I don't have that in my mind to taint things.
I'm fairly glad that I've probably watched at most like a half dozen episodes of TNA in my entire life.
That's impressive. I was watching it for a while there when when it was like AJ and Samoa Joe and uh, big fans of Abyss back in the day for whatever reason. My brothers and I.
Oh, yeah, a big fan of Not Kane, you mean?
Yes. Yes. Not Kane.
Um, let's see, Killer Elite Squad and Best Friends. These two have really been going at it on this tour. So the Best Friends actually go over here. This is like actually just really this is just good pro wrestling. Is that basically Beretta gets hit with a killer bomb and Archer does a lazy ass pin and he gets rolled up into a crucifix.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a high point on this card, as it was in Hiroshima, or Beppu rather. Um, these guys are putting on some really good matches, and it kind of makes me look forward to the tag league and seeing how far they progress because they're both on pretty good runs right now.
Yeah. So I hope they do. I hope they do the tag league in English. Because I'll be down to follow it daily if they're doing it in English. It was like when we did G1 last year. That was tough for me to kind of like lock in on the matches with Japanese commentary.
Or no commentary at all.
Yeah, I really need the yeah. It's like I can't watch anime that's subbed. I really have to have a dub, or else like I can't like mentally make myself lock into it.
Right. Yeah, it can be hard, especially like if you're say feeding your daughter.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes it difficult to keep up.
You got to look at the yeah. You got to look at the kid and make sure the bottle's going in the right place because you don't want to pull a Brie Bella and like smack her upside the head with a bottle and knock her out because you're not looking.
Is it acceptable if I shout Brie mode before whacking her in the head? Does that somehow soften the blow?
You're gonna have to talk to Pennsylvania Child Protective Services about that one.
Oh, well, I took a 4-hour course on child abuse for my job a couple weeks back, so I'm pretty sure that's probably under the list of code somewhere.
Oh yeah, and you're probably a mandatory reporter too. So like if you do something to your daughter, you're gonna have to turn yourself in.
Yes, precisely.
God damn, that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you got to turn yourself in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't bonk her in the head with the bottle, dude.
I'll try my best not to.
Yeah, so you gotta. So anyway, yeah, so New Japan. This is why we need English commentary for all of the tag league shows, so Matt doesn't bonk his daughter in the head with a bottle while shouting "Brie mode" and then have to turn himself into Child Protective Services. Because as a teacher, again, mandatory reporter.
Yeah. That's I don't know if that's in the code anywhere. I don't remember if the words Brie mode were ever in the revised code anywhere.
You know what? Pennsylvania is a crazy state. I almost think it has to be.
It's in there somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, these state and local laws get like really crazy.
Indeed. So yeah, this was another one. The backstage comment or the backstage interviews were pretty fun, and Chucky T and Beretta just being their usual offbeat selves, and Archer just kind of staring at the camera menacingly for several seconds without saying anything. That was fun too.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that these guys will both be right there in the running at the end of the tag league. I wonder who else they're going to bring in. I wonder if I'm guessing Cobb will come in with somebody again this year.
Yeah, he and Elgin were a good pairing last year. That'd be fun to see again.
Although wasn't that like who Elgin was shit talking and when he was getting in trouble last year?
Yes, that was
Okay.
a thing that happened. So who knows?
Big Mike is so good and he's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's painful.
Because he like quit ROH back in the day because he was going to go play professional baseball.
That's so random.
Yeah, I
didn't
mean
know.
he's crazy talented, And even, dude, look at him now, like how ripped he is. I even like saw there were some like screenshots of him, like still shots of him inside of the new Fire Pro game, and I'm like, he actually like looked fat, like a year and a half ago, and it's like it's not like he was ever fat, but now he's so fucking lean, and it's like Jesus Christ, dude. And then he's crazy strong, he's crazy athletic, and then he's just fucking dumb too. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, either way, the tag league should be fun. Looking forward to seeing who they bring in because they'll probably bring in some outside guys. Yeah, that'll be another fun tour leading up to Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, by the way, while I'm thinking of it, NXT this past week, main event was Ciampa and Otis Dozovich. Apparently, it's amazing, absolutely amazing match.
Interesting. I've never heard of this Otis character.
Oh, dude, you don't know Otis?
No.
You don't know Heavy Machinery?
Yeah, I remember the other guy's name. I didn't know that
Tucker
was
Knight.
his. Yeah, I didn't know that was his partner's
Okay,
name.
yeah, so like Otis is like if basically you were like scaled up until you were like 6'1", until you were like my height.
Okay.
Yeah, just this
Nice.
big, thick hoss, but he can go, right? And he's just like really. My favorite Otis Dozovich moment was at a NXT house show in Coral Gables about a year ago. Was it a year? I don't know. As Shinsuke was still in NXT. So I don't know if it was a year. But anyway, it was. So that night it happened to be Shinsuke's birthday. And so I guess it was 2 years ago. Shinsuke was still in, was his birthday, right? And at the end of the night, all the faces come out to like celebrate with him. And so all the faces are in the ring with him and they go to do like Shinsuke's rope pose. And Otis Dozovich does it too. And then as he gets up, he's doing this whole thing where he's like selling a back injury from it.
Nice.
No, he's this big, thick hoss, and the thing is, Tucker Knight is like crazy tall guy. So he makes Otis look like a midget, but Otis again is just a gigantic hoss, and yeah, he needs to. Dude, isn't it amazing how wrestling has changed? Like where we see some big hoss, and we're just like, oh my god, he's like a fucking amazing. I love him. Whereas like 15 years ago, it'd be like, really another one of these big motherfuckers.
Yeah, like the John Tenta zone.
Yeah, no, that doesn't describe. Well, this guy's like weightlifter thick though, you know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And like I said, he can like absolutely go. And you know, it's an interesting thing you actually bring up John Tenta. John Tenta was obviously a gigantic dude. He was super athletic though, so he could like definitely get out there and work. So he was a sumo wrestler before. And at least he like had the decency to put like a full singlet on, unlike a guy like Beer City Bruiser who just comes out there in like little nut huggers.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah, I guess it goes with the character though, but whatever. Let's see here. So let's move on to the next match here. We've got Ospreay, Yoshihashi, and Jay White taking on Juice Robinson, Toa Henare, and David Finlay, your boyfriend.
Yeah, the C Block champ, still bringing that tiny little trophy out with him to the ring.
And I love it when they were doing the whole gimmick that like his mom was going to fight him for it.
That's great. I would pay for that.
You figure a woman's been married to Finlay for however long. She's probably a pretty badass broad.
Yeah, she could probably take most of the guys in the back.
I don't doubt it. So anyway, tell us about this match, Matty.
Yeah, so again, with the theme of the tag league coming up, Fit and Juice did some good double teamwork early on young Yoshihashi, and yeah, this should be a good squad. I'm sure that they'll be a pairing there. That'll be fun. And then Ospreay gets a hot tag and runs wild. He hits awesome. Like it's a double springboard spot. Like he springboards up onto the one top rope and then bounces over to the next side of the ring. And it's like a little senton dive. Just, phenomenal agility. And, just looking great. And then Juice gets a nice spot in there too. He hits a spine buster on Yoshihashi, follows it up with a full Nelson slam on Ospreay, and then hits a cannonball on Jay White. So he's just, running the whole house. It was pretty awesome.
So, by the way, check your Skype real quick. I just sent you a picture of Otis Dozovich because I really need you to see this guy.
Okay. I'm on it. I'm getting there. It's not showing the chat right now for whatever reason.
There should be a little chat button that you can hit to bring it up.
Okay. I'll have to. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to it.
All right, because you'll see why I compared him to you as soon as you see him.
Okay, there. Okay, I'm seeing it now.
Hey, sorry about that, folks. Being the brilliant technologist and engineer that I am, I let my audio drive run out of space, and Pro Tools threw a fit and stopped recording. But we're back. So we were sitting here marveling over the beast of a human that is Otis Dozovich.
Yeah, he and Ciampa should by all means have a good match. That's quite a difference in size. I mean, a good little matchup there.
And there's just so much beard happening there too.
Yes, that's always a big plus.
Just all the beard, dude. Okay, so anyway, we're doing this. We were talking about. You were talking about Juice and Finlay, and then I cut you off to talk about Otis Dozovich.
Yeah, no worries. Juice looking good, and it's good for him to get some nice shine going into the Cody match, and that leads us into the finish of this tag, where again we have some shenanigans, some chicanery between Yoshihashi and Jay White. This time it's Hinare who gets caught up in the fray. Yoshihashi holds him in place with a full Nelson, and then as soon as White runs in and goes for the forearm, Hinare ducks and White smashes Yoshi in the face, and then Hinare goes for a roll up on White, but then White comes back and just hits a Blade Runner and kills him right away.
Yeah, he's such a fuck, man. He's such a fucker.
Yeah, and then he and Yoshihashi, they have words after the match and a little shoving going back and forth. So, as we can see, the dissension within Chaos is still that critical mass.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit.
Yeah, just a hint of foreshadowing.
Doo-doo-doo. The Suzuki Goon and LIJ feud is continuing in another 6-man tag match.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying the continuation of this. Evil and ZSJ should be a nice singles matchup. It's a bit of a shame that they don't have a title to fight over, because this feels like a hot enough feud to have that associated with it. And then again, we have Suzuki just being a rotten bastard, and taking Naito out into the crowd and hitting them with chairs and locking on leg submissions, just tearing those legs when they've already been heavily taped up for this whole tour, it seems like. And the awful sadism and evilness that you just come to love from Suzuki Goon.
He is a bad man.
Mm-hmm. As is ZSJ. Not to be discredited at all.
Right, yes, we're not slighting ZSJ is like a cultured and refined evil man, because he's British, of course, right? But Suzuki's like an old man. So like when you get to be an old man, you just stop giving a fuck, and you just let all your evil out.
Mm. Yeah, ZSJ is another one of those guys where it's he's in the right for so many of these things. Like he is a vegan, he does support labor, and he's a liberal guy, and he lets it be known. And he's still just such a prick, though, that it's impossible to really like him.
I still like him.
Well, yeah, but you don't want him to win. You want Evil to hit the STO on him and wreck his life. But oh well.
I see. The thing is I actually kind of want to do on one of my albums. I actually kind of want to do a song called "Everything Is Evil."
Yeah,
I
want to do a song called "Orienteering with Napalm Death." So
I actually want, yeah. And I kind of want to do I actually kind of just maybe want to do a whole album of like New Japan inspired songs, or like maybe just like generally wrestling inspired songs, but not make
Mhm.
it blatantly about wrestling. Just have it just be like make it all like dark and ominous and like doomy, but it's totally all about wrestling.
Mhm. That would be a fun project.
That may be what I spend the next year of my life doing.
Nice. So, yeah, with this match here, um, we get a really nice exchange where ZSJ goes for a flying guillotine, and as soon as he almost gets it locked in, Evil picks him right up into a Fisherman Buster. That was a pretty awesome looking spot. And then Evil stares down ZSJ as he hits the STO on Taka. Just great little moment between those two, especially after Evil was humiliated in the last match between those guys.
You think we're ever going to get a moment where the young lions get their revenge on Suzuki?
No, I really don't.
So I feel like that there should be a reckoning at some point, but like maybe that's like at the end of Suzuki's career, like all the young lions come out and just like beat him down, and then they like carry him out on their shoulders like it's some like Undertaker angle.
That would be as great a send off as you could have for that guy.
Although that's not really a New Japan angle, but
Yeah.
anything?
You could always have one guy just like be the representative of the young lions, like a guy just returning from excursion and just kind of be their proxy, if you will, or whatever.
Yeah, you could have Umino do it, like maybe like Suzuki is threatening Red Shoes, and then Shota comes out to defend his dad.
Yeah, and, but I think this is for all the underdogs, the young lions, the referees, everybody you've intimidated, and all that stuff through the years.
And I know I've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. I love it when Red Shoes gets sassy.
Yeah, him flipping off Tama and the firing squad guys in the G1. That was a great moment.
Indeed, it was. Anything else you want to add about the LIJ Suzuki match?
Not really. I think we've covered it pretty well.
All right. So up next, a IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship semifinal. Bushi and Kushida. Bushida, we'll call this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a nice little match. I really liked the finish here. Bushi has the double wrist lock locked in. He counters it out of an MX attempt by Bushi, and then they're rolling all around the mat trying to break free of this hold, and Kushida's holding on for dear life, and then eventually Bushi grabs a hold of Red Shoes and tosses him to the side, and then he spits the black mist in Kushida's eyes. That was a fun one too. Was trying to explain to Allie how the mist works.
I will never not enjoy a mist spot, but yeah, that's got to be like there's so many that's such. It's like when you try to pick up like an X-Men comic book in 2018 and trying to understand what the fuck is going on, like trying to understand something like a mist spot.
Yeah, because like it was just after the match, him in the back doing his talking, and she was like, "What the hell is all over him?" I was like, "Well,
well, dear,
yeah,
here's what happens in wrestling sometimes."
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. But if you're one of the initiated, then it totally makes sense. And then Kushida ends up catching a code breaker attempt into Back to the Future, and again a really cool little counter spot. And then instead of going for the pin, he holds on to the grip and goes for a second one for the win.
Very nice, very nice. So Kushida, I guess it's going to be at King of Pro Wrestling. Will face the winner of tonight's Osprey Skrull match.
Yeah, that ought to that'll be interesting. No matter who wins tonight, it should be a good match regardless, because Kushida can have a great junior match against either of those guys.
He could have a great junior match against me, and I'm like 50 pounds over being a junior.
True.
All right, so the main event, Kazuchika Okada challenging Hiroshi Tanahashi for the title of the match is special match for the right to challenge the IWGP Heavyweight Champion at Wrestle Kingdom 13. It's the briefcase.
Yeah. A rather interesting moment. You never, it's unprecedented. You've never seen it happen before, where a guy has lost the contract after winning the G1. So, but yeah, at the same point in time, Okada has pretty much dominated the feud in the last few matches they've had. So lots of intrigue going into this one.
So nobody's ever lost the briefcase, and the G1 winner, since they've officially had the briefcase, has never won at Wrestle Kingdom.
I didn't really realize that part. I guess it's true. Wow. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, because God, when's the last time that title even changed hands at Wrestle Kingdom? I think it was like it might have been Wrestle Kingdom 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna verify that because let's see. I know that this is great radio, everybody. Me like going onto Wikipedia right now, but I think that this is worth looking up to discuss right now. Yeah, so Tanahashi beat Kojima.
Wow.
Yep. Actually, I want to go back. It's probably a pretty good match. I want to go back and watch that. This is when they were cross promoting with TNA, because like James Storm and Bobby Roode were on the card.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, cool. So La Sombra was on the card. That is Andrade Cien Almas.
Yeah, he was great when he would show up in New Japan during his CMLL days.
How about this? Prince Devitt defeated Kota Ibushi with Kenny Omega in his corner. That is to say, Ibushi had Kenny in his corner. That's wow. That's a long time before Kenny as the Terminator.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow.
Jeff Hardy beat Naito also on that card.
Shut up. That's
for the TNA.
That's one to go back and watch. Wow.
That actually, I'll go look that up later today. I am actually wondering if those TNA matches are even on there, because I've noticed some of the crossover stuff isn't always on there, or then like all the Brock Lesnar matches that were on there got pulled.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, so wow. Brock is, when it comes to his money, he basically probably was like, yeah, you need to fucking pay me for those, and then it was sort of like, yeah, no, we're just gonna take them down.
Yeah.
So I want to verify my facts are correct about the G1 here real quick. Because I think that the whole briefcase thing has not been around like all that long. Like it's only like it was one of those things like where like in WWE, like the Royal Rumble winner just ended up facing like the champion at WrestleMania, but it didn't become an official thing until later on. And I think it's the same way with the G1. Yeah, so since 2012 is when that became official, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that was and we'll just scroll through real quick, but that person has never won at the Tokyo Dome, so
that's interesting.
Yeah. So like I was going to say, starting at like Wrestle Kingdom 8, you had Tanahashi and Okada forever.
Right.
And you had Kenny, and then you had Naito, and none of those guys won.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, this could be the year for sure. I mean, whether it's Tanahashi or Jay White. That's a lot of momentum behind Jay White after this card.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, so this match, uh, it's Okada and Tana don't like each other, right? That's like just the sense that you get from this is that they really just don't fucking like one another.
Yeah, and they both go to pretty intense lengths to display that.
This is, I mean, it's actually so funny. Kenny Omega's been shit talking. Well, it's actually Tana and Omega have been shit talking each other. And one of the things Kenny said something about was like what this is like everybody enjoy the 75th Okada Tanahashi match. It's just going to be a little slower than the last one.
Ouch.
Well, yeah, and then because Tana basically said that Kenny doesn't know how to build a match, and that basically it's like the only good part of a Kenny Omega match is the last 5 minutes.
Man, that's fighting words back and forth. Damn.
Yeah.
Some strong shit talk.
That's strong style shit talk is what that is, son.
Indeed.
All right. Well, anyway, any high points you want to run down in this match?
Just from the very beginning, the first time that they reach the ropes, Okada wastes no time and forearm and Tanahashi right in the face. So we know that it's going to be pretty serious stuff because like you said, the animosity between these guys, and typically Okada will break on those lockups in the corner.
Yeah, he does the little chest pat and then steps back.
Right. But this time, yeah, he wastes no time getting a shot in. So, yeah, from the get go, that's going to be a little more serious affair.
Yes, indeed.
Just lots of both guys attacking the legs back and forth. The great spot was when Tana's up on the top and Okada drop kicks him off, and Tana's still hanging there, kind of almost like in a tree of woe, and Okada just starts pounding on the knee with with various shots. Again, just showing really nasty, vicious streak. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, indeed it was. Kind of thing. I'm kind of writing down our notes here to see if there's any like other big things I want to point out. Like the later on in the match, Tana feels the effects of the knee attacks because he actually hits the high fly flow and he can't pin, and he actually ends up not getting a pinfall at one point.
Yeah, that one was kind of far-fetched to me because, you can just kind of lay on top of the guy and stay there after you hit that move, but like he had to go out of his way to roll over and hold onto his knee. That's kind of stretching it for me, but still, a really dramatic moment, of course.
Yep. Basically, you have Tana going over with what is it, 3 high fly flows?
Yeah, the first one was really sick. When he shoved Okada off the top and jumped right on top of him, like as soon as he hit the mat. Pretty awesome timing there.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? These guys are just phenomenal. So Tana goes over, he keeps his contract, and Jay White runs down. Shocker.
Yeah, he runs down and hits a Blade Runner on Tanahashi right away, and then he starts putting the boots to Okada, and that's the moment when all the young lions run in and get beaten up, and then he gets into it with Rocky Romero. Goes to the commentary bench and demands to take Rocky's chair, and Rocky's like, I ain't giving you shit, and gets all up in his face, and he shoves Rocky to the floor and grabs the chair and brings it in. At which point Yoshihashi stumbles his way into the ring.
Well, did you see Yoshi actually busted himself open?
Did he really?
Yeah, because
that was when he busted himself open. Wow.
He fell running in and busted his head open.
Yeah, when they did the the subtitles for the post-match interview and everything, they like zoomed in on Jay White during that moment because it was a wide shot of Yoshihashi running down the ramp, and then they panned away from that during the replay.
Yeah. Poor Yoshi. So Yoshi runs in. He ends up getting a chair tossed at his head by Jay White. And then Gedo comes into the ring, takes the chair from Jay White, and
He whacks Okada across the back with it.
Yep, Okada gets hit with a Blade Runner, and then Gedo cuts a promo for White saying that he's going to headline Wrestle Kingdom 13 and calls Okada and Tana losers. And, well, I guess it looks like Chaos is done.
Yeah, or at least, Jay White is done with Chaos, if nothing else.
I think Chaos is done.
Yeah, well, we'll see. They still had the match at Death Before Dishonor. There's still a solid core of guys there. Just, I'd probably say, minus Jay White and Yoshihashi.
Yeah, and Gedo.
And Gedo, yeah, of course.
Maybe Jado.
So,
probably Jado, too.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It was just kind of funny afterwards seeing, the seething, punk-ass Jay White cutting the promo, and then Gedo standing beside him with a smile on his face, looking rather zen-like, and just, rather content with himself. Just not a very menacing figure.
Anyway, this was a great angle.
Oh yeah, totally.
And since New Japan doesn't do this stuff like every week, it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's sort of like, and then, if you've been a fan of Okada, you've been a fan of Gedo, and it's just sort of like, Jesus Christ, dude, how could you do this to your boy? But then, Geto's got his point of view too, because, from his perspective, he took Okada to this crazy success and to becoming the best IWGP champion ever, and then Okada just up and fires him.
Yeah, and in the middle of a very unsuccessful run too. So yeah, he certainly is justified in his actions from that standpoint.
Indeed. So this sets up Jay White versus Tana for the briefcase. Jay White's not ready for a Tokyo Dome main event yet. I suspect we're actually going to see Jay White and Okada in a high-profile match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, that'll be good. Be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, so my guess is and this is not an original thought of mine. I just think this is a likely scenario. I see Tana going over at the Tokyo Dome. Gaijin just do not win in the Tokyo Dome main event. It's a thing that's maybe happened. I checked like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like we're talking like Brock, Scott Norton. I'm trying to think who the other 2 were. I know Brock and Scott Norton for sure. I'm trying to.
Did Kurt Angle? Maybe.
Maybe Kurt did. Let me kind of. See, I actually had made notes about all this stuff at one point. Because there's just the Gaijin maybe it's only 2 that have won, because there's not that many Gaijin that have even been in that main event, like Kenny and Scott Norton, Brock.
Yeah, I think that's probably the whole list is just Norton and Brock.
By the way, it's crazy just thinking about this as I'm browsing through this list. Wrestle Kingdom 3, which was 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, because we're not that far away from January, was headlined by Tanahashi and Keiji Muto.
That's wild. I didn't realize that he was still active back then.
Yeah, and then there's another match on that card where it's Shinsuke and Goto taking on Misawa and Takashi Sagura, and it's sort of like just the thought of like, wow, Shinsuke and Misawa were in the ring together.
Yeah, that's a trip.
Or fucking Team 3D taking on Makabe and Yano. Man, that's some trippy shit going on there.
That sounds like something that I need to go back and watch.
Yeah, that was Wrestle Kingdom 2. Wrestle Kingdom 1. No, that was Wrestle Kingdom 3. Wrestle Kingdom 2. This looks like a hell of a card too. Angle and Nagata in the semi-main. And the main was Shinsuke and Tana.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I miss Shinsuke.
Me too.
And you say, but Zach, he still wrestles. Yeah, I miss Shinsuke.
Yeah, no question.
Oh, but he's a U.S. champion and it's Knock America. Yeah, I miss Shinsuke.
It's kind of like I miss the old Kanye. Like Kanye wrote the song about it, but like, yeah, I miss the old Kanye. Like you are an idiot now.
So at the 2006 Tokyo Dome show, Brock beat Shinsuke in like 9 minutes. That was young Shinsuke getting pushed way too soon.
Right.
Let me see. Let's see the 2005. It was well, that can't be right. Why isn't this giving me the? How about wrestling? Okay. Yeah, they changed how they. Oh yeah, Barnett. There was another dude that was in the main event.
Okay. Yep.
At the 2003, him and Nagata. Let's see. We had wow, June. It's so weird when when the companies were working together because Jun Akiyama, when he was GHC champion, headlined against Nagata.
Oh, that's wild too. Damn.
Yeah, and then another one was had Kensuke Sasaki taking on Kawada in a main event, and that was actually like that show was like a tournament for the title. Or Sasaki taking on, or is it Sasuke? I'm always bad with these names. Taking on Tenryu in 2000, you know?
Yeah.
Keiji Muto and Scott Norton, and anyway. So okay, right. So the Gaijin, it would have been so Scott Norton, Brock, Josh Barnett, and Kenny Omega.
Yeah. That's not a lot of people. You know, it's a very short list, of course.
So Kenny's going to be only the second Gaijin to do it twice.
Yeah.
Or the first Gaijin to do it twice.
Yeah. He's ingratiated himself so well though that it's almost like it doesn't even count. He's kind of been adopted, you know.
No, that doesn't happen. You're always Gaijin.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's not going to pass the eyeball test.
Yeah. He is not. Actually, here's one to go check. It's the '92 Tokyo Dome show, and if we still did the episodes like the flashback like episodes. Tokyo Dome '92 was Choshu and Fujinami.
Still, damn.
Dude, that was such a fun feud to talk about.
Yeah, and that's wild that they were still going at it 8 years later.
Yeah, and you had Muta and Sting taking on the Steiners.
That's awesome.
Holy, yeah. You ready for a not good match?
Yes.
Big Van Vader versus El Gigante.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, this okay. So this is. I mean, this wouldn't have been like a great wrestling match, but this is just cool historically. Dusty and Dustin taking on Kim Duck and Masa Saito.
Wow.
Remember Kim Duck from one of the older matches we did? He was also Tiger Chung Lee.
Yes, Animal Hamaguchi.
That was one of our. That's not Animal Hamaguchi, by the way. That's a different guy.
No, it's not. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Tiger Chung Lee. But we talked about him in one of our early matches.
Yeah, he was a Choshu guy as well. Those are both Choshu guys. So.
All right, so here, I'm gonna do more good radio. I'm gonna read a list. And by the way, Orca just is up on the desk, and she's actually basically like curled around my mic stand.
Nice.
She has recovered nicely from her surgery, by the way.
Good deal.
All right,
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, she's back to her normal self, which means adorable and affectionate and lovable, and also complete fucking pain in my ass. So let's run down. We're going to run down a list of January 4th Tokyo Dome main events, and this is starting in 1992. So as I just mentioned a minute ago, the first one was Riki Choshu defeating Tatsumi Fujinami. Still going at it in 92. 93 was Tenryu beating Choshu. Here's an example of the Booker putting himself in the main event. 94 was Tenryu beating Inoki.
that late into his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
95. This is actually probably one to go back and watch. Hashimoto beating Sasuke.
Yeah, that does sound pretty great.
96. Takada defeating Keiji Muto.
Okay.
97 was Hashimoto defeating Riki Choshu. That's actually kind of late for Choshu to be getting main events. What you gonna do?
Yeah, totally.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so 99 or 98 was is it I don't know if I'm saying that. It's probably Sasaki, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
Sasaki beating Muto. 99 was Muto and Scott Norton. If you remember Scott Norton from the WCW days.
Mm-hmm.
Sasaki beating Tenryu in 2000. Sasaki beating Kawada 2001. Just such a fucking Kawada in a New Japan ring is so weird. 2002 Akiyama defeats Nagata for the big Noah title. 2003 is Nagata and Barnett. 2004 is Nakamura beat Takayama. 2005 Nakamura beats Tanahashi. 2006 is Brock beats Nakamura. So the first Wrestle Kingdom is 2007, right? And that is Muto and Chono beating Tenkozy.
Wow.
Yeah, those guys were really fucking old at that. Well, not Tenkozy wasn't because they were in their primes there, but yeah, Muto and Chono would have been old as fuck there.
Yeah.
2008 was Naka. Now, you ready for that? You ready for just the run of Tanahashi?
Mm-hmm.
So this is starting in 2008, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nakamura beats Tanahashi. Then Tanahashi beats Muto. Have a year off where Nakamura beats Takayama. Then Tanahashi beats Kojima. Tanahashi beats Suzuki. That's one to go back and watch. Tanahashi beats Okada. Tanahashi beats Shinsuke. Tanahashi beats Okada. Okada beats Tanahashi. And then the last 2 years, it's Okada beating Omega and Okada beating Naito. And he's back in it. He's probably going to be back in it again this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't foresee that changing anytime soon.
So anyways, I got off of my crazy Wikipedia reading tangent here. What I think is going to happen is that, Tana goes over in the Tokyo Dome. And again, this is actually very history-making for that to happen. And then Kenny wins the title back at the New Japan Ring of Honor show in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that'll be probably the best course of action to take.
And that's the. I realize that they got to keep most of the big matches in Japan because I mean they have like a really passionate, loyal fan base. And you can't start taking matches away from them for us here in the States. But if you're doing you're selling out MSG on WrestleMania weekend, you better fucking put Kenny Omega in the main event, winning the big title.
Yeah, that's how you serve your fans for sure.
And Orchid is very nearly knocking my microphone over because she's being affectionate. And gosh, this microphone needs love.
No.
Right. So that's kind of what I see coming up next year. But let's talk about what's happening tonight. If you're listening to this show on Sunday, if you're not, this is what happened on Sunday night in Long Beach. Let's run down the card here real quick. And it is a weird ass card. Opening match is 6-man tag. So you've got ACH. If you don't know ACH, he actually played Tiger the Dark a couple years ago at the Tokyo Dome when Ibushi was playing Tiger Mask W. So yeah, ACH, Taguchi, and Liger taking on Sho, Yo, and Rocky.
Yep, wonder who's going to eat the pin in that one.
Yeah, well, there's actually a couple guys that could, but yeah, it's probably Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Tag match, you have SoCal Uncensored, so Kazarian and Chris Daniels taking on Chase Owens and Hangman Page.
Ought to be a good match, but again,
I
a
wonder
little
who's
bit
eating the
weird.
pen in that one.
Yeah.
That is a weird ass match. I won't ever complain about seeing SoCal Uncensored or Chris Daniels in general, but yeah, it's not a New Japan thing. Third match, you have Flip Gordon, Chris Sabin, and Jeff Cobb, who coincidentally all worked the ROH show Friday night, taking on Chucky T, Beretta, and Goto.
Yeah, that's a weird +1 for the best friends, as well as, a weird trio of American guys.
That is a really weird trio of American guys. But we get to see Jeff Cobb, so that's cool.
Yeah. Not going to complain about that.
So I've seen him in person a couple times this year, and that's, again, I don't want all the guys I like to go to WWE, although I want all the guys I like to make a ton of money, which probably means WWE. Jeff Cobb, again, just to me seems like a guy that's like a fucking natural, because he's this like big, strong hoss. He's got a great physique, and then he can go in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally, deceptively athletic guy too.
Have you seen him do? Dude, he does a standing moonsault.
Right. Yeah, that's what comes to mind, for sure.
Another 6-man tag match: Lij versus Suzuki Gun. So you Sonata, Evil, and Naito. You like that picture I sent you of Sonata and Evil in Vegas?
Yeah, Sonata was swagged out. It's pretty great. Pretty great look.
That's a good looking guy. He knows how to dress.
Mm-hmm. Now, Evil's no slouch, but yeah, Sonata definitely steals the spotlight in that picture.
Sonata still to me looks like Japanese LeBron.
I can kind of see it.
Anyway, they're taking on Killer Elite Squad and Zack Sabre Jr. That should be a really good match.
Yeah, that'll be great.
You have Tana and Kushida taking on Geto and Jay White.
Yeah.
So that's obviously setting up stuff for King of Pro Wrestling, that's next week. You have a semifinal for the junior heavyweight championship, Ospreay and Skrull, which is going to be, those guys can roll out of bed and have a 4.5 star match.
Yeah, so it'll be great. Yeah, they always do great things when they hook up, so looking forward to that.
And then we have the IWGP heavyweight tag team championship on the line. The Young Bucks, so Mato Jackson and Nico Jackson taking on GOD.
Yes. I don't foresee GOD winning the titles here at all. I think that definitely going to see Bucks retain.
So I think that obviously you and I have been fans of the Tongans for a while, but they kind of got a stink on them at the G1 this year. And,
totally.
And Tama had a chance to step up, and he really didn't. And I think this is like a big spotlight match for them, and it's going to be a good chance for them to see if they can hang.
Yeah. There's no reason they shouldn't have a good match, but yeah, they really need to impress in order to keep themselves in the good graces.
Agreed. And you have for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship, Juice Robinson taking on Cody, which is interesting because in the US, Cody is kind of a baby face, especially with winning the NWA title. He's totally going to be the heel in this match.
Yeah, it's different. I can't foresee Cody winning, but at the same time, it's going to be kind of weird to have him lose too. So see what they do to maybe mitigate that in one way or another.
And then the main event. Actually, let me make another comment on that last match real quick. I mean, I feel like that if Juice drops the belt, that's like a total fucking burial of him, though.
Right. So that's why I don't think that you can really do that either.
And New Japan generally doesn't do no finishes, so I don't know what's going to happen. Main event, which is going to be a hell of a match, but it's an odd match to book. You have Ishii and Okada taking on Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, the Golden Lovers.
Yeah, ought to be a fantastic match. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say?
So let's see. So King of Pro Wrestling is a week from Monday. That is in Tokyo at the Ryogoku Kokugakan. I used to be able to say that. The only match we know for certain on that one is going to be Kushida versus the winner of Ospreay and Skrull. I wonder if we're not going to have Tana and White on that one. I don't know. Maybe you could have another tag team match, like a tag team championship match, junior tag titles. Maybe somebody will beat the shit out of Taichi and take that belt off of him.
That would be nice.
Maybe Jericho randomly shows up and does some shit.
Yeah, he's due for it. Yeah.
I actually just found, I think it was, maybe it was like last night. Fozzy was like right down the road from me, but I was up in West Palm with my lady.
Yeah, I remember them, Jericho reading off the tour dates, and the one was in Lauderdale.
Yeah, that was last night at the Culture. Actually, man, the Culture Room's a great place to see a show too. Because it's pretty intimate. You can get right up on the stage, literally, honestly, right up in front of the stage. Well, that's the end. So Fozzy's not on tour right now, but I heard Jericho talking about like foreign dates, but they're done with their U.S. tour. So I'm kind of I'm curious to see what he's going to be up to, because they've actually got Fozzy's actually got like festival dates coming up. So let's see. Now they're doing a couple of festival dates. So Jericho's probably not going to be able to be in Japan on Monday, but he is going to be in the Pacific Rim starting like early November. So he's going to be in like New Zealand, Australia, there for a little bit, like for a week or so. He's going to be in that area. So you could see him popping up in New Japan around that time, because he'll be in that part of the world.
Yeah, that'll be good thing to look forward to.
Well, that's, you know what, so that's when Power Struggle starts.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Power Struggle is well, let's see. Power Struggle is actually Saturday, November the 3rd. But they don't really have any matches for that listed. All right, anyway. So, Maddie, you got anything else to add? I'm kind of just sitting here rambling, looking at web pages, so we should probably let our listeners go.
No, yeah, looking forward to the top matches. Haven't read through that card for the Long Beach show. Yeah, it should be fun.
Should be
looking forward to Junior Tag League as well. Looking forward to the Heavyweight Tag League coming up in the following months. So yeah, it's fun to have different divisions highlighted while we kind of rest the top guys a little bit to get prep for the Tokyo Dome. Indeed.
So, Maddie, before we head out, plug your stuff.
Sure thing. The Twitter is at Albino Buddha, ALBINO_BUDDHA. Instagram is ThompsonMR90, ThompsonMR90. And then Facebook is facebook.com/MA_DD.MA_T.
So you can find me on Twitter as @TheZork. That's spelled with a 0 and not the O. You can find the show on the Facebook at Flying Gaijin Bombcast, at FG Bombcast on the Twitter machine, and flyinggaijinbombcast.com if you want to go to our website. And that is it for us this week, folks. We will see you next week.
I see the colors you don't see running down the wall. Infinity between spaces, unfamiliar sight